Good morning, students. Welcome back in your SS class. Student, we have started chapter number 2 of history, that is from trade to territory. The company establishes power. Now today, this will be the 6th part of this chapter, and you can say that it will be the last chapter, and you can say last part. So before going to start the chapter, and you can say start the video, first of all, we will discuss the topics which we will cover today. First of all, we will discuss the doctrine of lapse. That's the policy of lapse. Who introduced this policy, and you can say what are the basic features of this policy, and why British government established and you can say started this policy. And it is very helpful policy for the expansion of the British Empire in India. You can say that it is very important policy because due to this policy, the maximum part of India, it was you can say annexed by the Britishers, and you can say by the Britishers of the Indian place. Means maximum part it is you can say that added. Now after then we will discuss about the administration system, and you can say the administrative system. British East India Company, it established and you can say it set up a new administrative system. What was the basic feature of this administrative system? We will discuss this thing, right? And then we will discuss about the new system of the justice. Means justice का एक नया system क्या था? We will discuss this thing, and then we will discuss about the company rule, sorry, company army, because army is very essential feature to create the administration system, and you can say to maintain the law and order. So that's why what was the basic feature of the company army, we will discuss about it. And at the last, we will conclude this chapter because it will be the last part of this chapter. So conclusion will be there, right friends? So my dear student, first of all, we will discuss about the doctrine of lapse. In the previous video, we have discussed that British government adopted 2 policies to expand its rule. The first one, it adopted the war method. Means due to the you can say by the direct war method, they can annex maximum part of India. They can establish its rule over many part of India. Second method, and you can say second manner, it is the different policies. They have already discussed subsidiary alliance. It was a policy which British government introduced to expand its power over India. Now today we will discuss about doctrine of lapse. If we think about doctrine of lapse, so one question we have in our mind, that is what was the doctrine of lapse, and what was this policy? So if we think about this policy is devised, and you can say it is established, and you can say it started by Lord Dalhousie. If we think about the Lord Dalhousie, he was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856 in India. He was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856 in India, and during his reign, and you can say during his time period, Lord Dalhousie, he introduced a policy that is considered the doctrine of lapse. And this policy helped British a lot of in the annexation of the Indian state. Means it expanded, it is very helpful for expanding the British Empire in India. So let's think about the doctrine of lapse. So what was this policy? We will discuss this question. So if we think about this policy, according to this policy, that if any Indian ruler died without a natural male heir, his kingdom would lapse into the hands of the British. Means इनके अनुसार क्या था, अगर कोई भी Indian ruler, if any Indian ruler, he was died without a natural male heir, अगर कोई भी बगैर किसी बच्चे के एक्सपायर हो जाता है, and that heir must be male, means उनका बच्चा जो होता है वो लड़का होना चाहिए. अगर कोई भी इंडियन रूलर बिना किसी लड़के के पहले ही डाई हो जाता है, मर जाता है, तो उसका किंगडम जो है इट वुड बी लैप्स, वो छीन लिया जाएगा, एंड इट वुड बी इन द हैंड ऑफ द ब्रिटिशर्स. It would be the part of the Indian British. It would be the part of the Britisher. वो British Empire का part बन जाएगा. This was the policy of the doctrine of lapse and devised by Lord Dalhousie. right? According to this policy, if any Indian ruler died without a natural male heir, मीन्स बिना किसी मेल उत्तराधिकारी के अगर वो एक्सपायर हो जाता है, his kingdom would be lapsed into the hands of the British. उसका जो किंगडम है वो ब्रिटिशर्स के अंडर चला जाएगा. And you can say that it will become the part of the company territory. You can say this thing, right, friends? So this is the policy, and you can say this was the policy of the doctrine of lapse. I hope this concept is clear to all of you. So this is the basic question. आपके सामने क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि define doctrine of lapse. So first of all, we will discuss about it, that this policy was devised by Lord Dalhousie, and according to this policy, if any Indian ruler died without a natural male heir, his kingdom would lapse into the hand of the Britisher. It means that it will become the part of the company territory. And this policy, it is very helpful for the expansion of the British Empire over India. It is very helpful, right, friends? Now let's think about the other factors about it. So we will discuss about which kingdoms were annexed by applying just only this policy. So there are many parts of the India which were included just only due to this policy. Like if we think about the Satara, it is in 1848. It is, you can say that it is annexed by the Britishers due to this policy. In this way, Sambalpur, it is in 1850. If we think about the Udaipur, it is in 1852, Nagpur 1853, Jhansi, it's a very most important part because here is you can say that Rani Lakshmi Bai 1854 and Awadh in 1856. So these were the parts of the India, and you can say these were the states which were just only annexed simply by applying this policy. Now here listen student one thing. If any ruler adopted any here, means अगर वो किसी को अडॉप्ट करता है, that can't be not be considered the, you can say the heir of that particular king. वो उस राजा का उत्तराधिकारी नहीं माना जाएगा. He must be, means that heir must be a natural heir. Means वो उनका natural प्राकृतिक बच्चा होना चाहिए, ना कि वो किसी को अडॉप्ट कर सके. Adopted son जो है वो भी वैल्यू एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा एज ए किंग, उसे भी नहीं माना जाएगा. So according to this policy, they annexed many part of the India, you can say many states of India in the British Empire. And if we think about Awadh, during the annexation of the Awadh, British Empire added a strange argument. What was the argument of it? According to them, there was the misgovernment of the Nawab in Awadh. So it is their duty, you can say it is their moral duty to take over Awadh in order to free the people from this misgovernment of the Nawab. They created this argument, and you can say they added this argument when they annexed Awadh into their kingdom. They provided this, you can say, this excuse. ये उन्होंने इस excuse को provide किया कि अवध के अंदर क्या है? It was the misgovernment of the Nawab. So they wanted to protect and they wanted to free the people of Awadh from the misgovernment of the Nawab. That's why they annexed this part into their kingdom. They argued this thing. But जो Awadh people थे, they knew the real policy of it. So in rage with this humiliation, the people of Awadh, they joined the Great Revolt of 1857. 1857 के अंदर जो रिवोल्ट हुआ था, उसके अंदर जो अवध के पीपल थे, उन्होंने आप कह सकते बढ़ चढ़कर भाग लिया था. Because they knew that it is not the misgovernment of the Nawab, it was just only the policy of the doctrine of lapse. According to this policy, they just only annexed their rule, and you can say their part, and the Awadh in, you can say, British Empire. Right, friends? So this is the, you can say this was the policy of the British Empire of doctrine of lapse. Now let's compare two map of India. This map of India, it is in 1797, and here yellow color, it denotes that the areas under the British rule, and the red color, it denotes that the areas which were not under the British Empire. But if we compare this map from the map of India in 1857, now you can see the scenario of the British India, the scenario is totally changed. The pink color, it denotes the British India, and the maximum part of this of India, it is, you can say, it was under the British Empire. Yellow color, it is Hindu states, and the green color, it is the Muslim states. So you can see this map and compare this map. In 1797, just only few part of India, it was under, you can say, under the Britishers. But if you think about at the time of the 1857, the maximum part of India, it was under the control of the Britishers. And how they created this thing? They created this thing by direct war policy, and second thing, by the different policies which they produce, which they introduce in India to expand their rule. And doctrine of Lips, it is one of them from these policies also. Right, students? तो इस तरीके से देखिए कि इंडिया के कितने पार्ट पर उन्होंने अधिकार कर लिया था. Right, students? Now, after annexing, and you can say after creating the power, and you can say after creating the power of maximum part of India, and after establishing the maximum, after establishing the rule of their maximum part of India, they set up a new administrative system in India. It is very most important. So let's think about this, the administrative system which British Empire, and you can say Britishers, they established in India. First of all, we will discuss about the Warren Hastings, and he was the first Governor General of India. This is the 1 marks question for you, that who was the first Governor General of India? It is Warren Hastings. It is a Governor General of India from 1773 to 1785. And this man, and you can say this Governor General, played an important role, and you can say significant role in the expansion of the company rule, and you can say company power in India. He played an important role. So British territory, it was expanded by the different policies, by the different war methods. So the company had acquired not only in Bengal but also Bombay and Madras. Means company का जो अधिकार था वो सबसे पहले उन्होंने बंगाल में अपना बेस establish किया. After then they captured Bombay and Madras also. And whole the territory of the British, it was divided into the administrative unit. And these administrative units, they were considered the presidency. हम उनको क्या कहते थे? Presidency. Means if we think about the other thing, means अगर हम बात करते हैं ब्रिटिश एम्पायर ने क्या क्या डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज एंड डिफरेंट वॉर वेलफेयर मेथड, एंड आप कह सकते हो वॉर मेथड से उन्होंने इंडिया के मैक्सिमम पार्ट पर अधिकार कर लिया. एंड इफ वी थिंक अबाउट, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दे क्रिएट इट्स बेस एंड दे एस्टैब्लिश्ड their base in Bengal, but after then they captured Bombay and Madras also, and all the British territory, it was broadly divided into different administrative units, and these administrative units, they are called presidency. At that time they have 3 presidency: Bengal presidency, Madras presidency, and Bombay presidency. These were the administrative units of the British territory. एंड होल यूरोप आप कह सकते हो कि पूरा का पूरा जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम था वो 3 प्रेसिडेंसी में डिवाइडेड था. एंड इफ यू थिंक अबाउट ईच प्रेसिडेंसी, दे वर रूल्ड बाय अ गवर्नर, बट द सुप्रीम हेड वाज द गवर्नर जनरल. एंड यू कैन से दैट ऑल प्रेसिडेंसी मींस इफ यू थिंक अबाउट बंगाल प्रेसिडेंसी, इट इज रूल्ड बाय अ गवर्नर. सेकंड इन Madras presidency, it is also by another governor. If we think about Bombay presidency, it was also ruled by other governor. But all the presidency, they were under the one governor general, and the supreme head, and you can say the supreme power, it is in the hand of the governor general. Right, students? Now we will think about Warren Hastings. If we think about Warren Hastings, he introduced different administrative reforms in India also, like in the sphere of justice. He also introduced many administrative reforms. In the sphere of the army, he also introduced many reforms also. Let's think about those things. First of all, we will discuss about the new system of the justice. Now from 1772, the new system of the justice, it was established. What was it? Let's discuss it. First of all, let's take it. मान लीजिए एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है. Now it is divided into 2 parts. The criminal court and the district court. We are discussing here the justice system, the judicial system of the Britishers, which was established in India. And now let's think about the district. It is divided into 2 parts. The first one is the criminal court. This is called Faujdari Adalat, and the second one is the district court. They were considered the Diwani Adalat. If we think about the criminal court, these court were under a Qasi and a Mufti, but they work under the supervision of the collectors. And if we think about the district court, Maulvis and the Hindu Pandits, they interpreted the Indian laws for the European district collectors, so that these collectors took the decision according to the, you can say, Indian laws. So the whole district, it is divided into two parts. Now we have one question: was everything so easy going with this system? मीन्स जो हमने देखा कि बड़े आराम से उन्होंने सभी पार्ट पे अधिकार कर लिया, 3 प्रेसिडेंसी में डिवाइड कर दिया, उसके बाद उन्होंने एक नया जस्टिस सिस्टम इंट्रोड्यूस किया, क्या हर एक चीज जो था इट गो इन अ वेरी स्मूथ मैनर? क्या हम ये कह सकते हैं? नो माय डियर स्टूडेंट, दिस नेवर गोस इन अ वेरी स्मूथ मैनर. देयर वर डिफरेंट चैलेंजेस व्हिच दे फेस्ड. So what were these challenges? We will discuss later. The first major problem, it was that the Brahmin and the Pandits, they interpreted the local laws based on different schools of the Dharma Shastra. Now question arises here, what is Dharma Shastra? Means if we think about the basic major problem which Britishers faced during the administrative system, it was that Brahmin Pandits, they all interpreted the local laws in a different manner and in a different school of the Dharma Shastra. If we think about Dharma Shastra, these were the Sanskrit text prescribing social rules and code of behavior. This is the Dharma Shastra. The Dharma Shastras, they are the Sanskrit text which prescribe how to behave in the society. That tells us about the social rules and the code of the conduct of the behavior also. So these were the Dharma Shastra. And the Brahman Pandit, they interpreted our local laws according to these Dharma Shastra. And if we think about India, it has a lot of diversity. So due to this thing, there was no uniformity. There was no uniformity in the social order. So to bring the uniformity in India, and you can say in the local laws, the Britishers in 1775, 11 Pandits, they were asked to compile the digest of Hindu law. डाइजेस्ट इट मींस कलेक्ट. उन्होंने कहा कि 11 पंडित को इकट्ठा कर दिया 1776 के अंदर. उनको बोला गया कि आप टोटल लोकल लॉज को इकट्ठा एक जगह पर कर दीजिए, so that there may be a uniformity in the local laws, there may be uniformity in the behavior also, ताकि हर एक के साथ एक ही जैसा बिहेव किया जा सके. So to create the uniformity, in 1775, 11 Pandits, they were appointed to compile a digest of Hindu laws. Hindu laws की कलेक्शन के लिए उन 11 पंडित को इकट्ठा किया गया. क्वेश्चन क्या था? क्वेश्चन है कि क्यों इकट्ठा किया गया? The basic reason to bring the uniformity in the laws, in the justice system, in the judicial system. That's why they started. They have been established. Now, when this is compiled, so N.B. Hallett, it translated this digest, and you can say this collection of the Hindu law into English, because the Britishers, they can understand just only in English. वो English को ही समझ सकते थे. So all these laws, they were translated into English, and by 1778, a code of the Muslim law, it was also compiled for the benefit of the European judges also. So इस तरीके से ये सारा का सारा जो था वो कंपाइल कर दिया गया, and it create a regulating act of 1773, and according to this regulating act of 1773, a new Supreme Court was established. एक नया जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट था उसे एस्टेब्लिश किया गया, and you can say that the court of the appeal, the Sardar Nizamat Adalat, and it was established in Kolkata. Right now it is Kolkata. At the time it is Calcutta. Right, students? So एक नया सुप्रीम कोर्ट जो था, it was established at that time. Now first of all we will discuss about the district. The principal figure of the Indian district, it was the collector. Means whatever is doing, जो भी कुछ काम होगा, it was under the collector, under the supervision of the collector. And the main aim of the collector, it was to collect revenue and taxes. Second thing, to maintain law and order in his district. It was the basic job of the collector. So the district, the principal, and you can say the main figure of the Indian district, it was collector, and every work, whatever is going on in district, it is under the supervision of this collector. Now how the collector maintain all these things? Now with the help of the judges, police officers and darogas, he can maintain law and order in his district. So in this way, we can say that the collector, it became the new central power and patronage the steadily replaced from the previous holder of the authority. Means पहले जो authority थी, अब वो replace हो चुकी है. Now there was another figure, that is collector. He became the new center of the power, and he took all the decisions to create law and order या to maintain law and order in his district. तो इसके लिए वो क्या करता था, वो हर एक प्रकार के आप कह सकते हो डिसीजन लेता था, and he took the help of the judges, police officers and darogas to maintain law and order in his district. Right students? तो इस वक्त जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उसके अंदर जो प्रीवियस अथॉरिटी थी, it was now replaced and new administrative authority, it is the collector, and he is the central figure of the power. Right students? मेरे ख्याल से ये आपको क्लियर हो चुका होगा. Now the power of the colonial administrative. Now let's think about the another point, and it is the company army, and it would be the most important aspect. Reason is that because the power of the colonial administration, it is just only due to the military strength. It is just only due to the military strength. All the colonial administration, if it work in a smooth manner, अगर वो इतने लंबे समय तक हमारे ऊपर रूल करके गए हैं, it is just only due to the military strength of the Britishers. And during first of all, we will compare this thing with the previous authority also, that is Mughal period. Everything about the army during the Mughal period, it is having two types. The first one is the cavalry, that is considered the swar, and they were the trained soldiers on the horseback. And the second one is the infantry, जिन्हें हम पैदल soldiers कह सकते हैं, and they were the trained in the archery and sword. तो जो मुगल पीरियड था उसमें इस प्रकार से इनको डिवाइड किया गया था. And the cavalry, they dominated the army, and the infantry, they did not play a major role. जो कैवलरी थी वो आर्मी में डोमिनेट क्या करती थी, और इन्फेंट्री जो थी वो उतना डोमिनेट नहीं करती थी. रीजन इज दिस, क्योंकि वो ही अगर हम बात करते हैं, वो ही जो थे वो आप कह सकते हो वो वेल ट्रेन्ड पर्सन्स थे बाय द हॉर्स. राइट स्टूडेंट्स? But during the 18th century, there was many changes which were occurred. The Mughal successor states like Awadh and Banaras, they started recruiting the peasants into the armies, and you can say and train them as a professional soldiers. Train them as a professional soldiers. 18th century के अंदर जो अवध और बनारस था, उनके अंदर जो soldiers के अंदर एक changes आया. Now they started to recruit peasants as a soldiers, and they started to train them like a professional soldiers. Okay, and same method it was adopted by the Britishers also. Same method they also adopted. The peasants, they were recruited as a सिपाही army. जो आप कह सकते हो आर्मी थी, उनको एज ए सिपाही आर्मी के रूप में रखा गया. अब इन्हीं की वजह से 1857 के अंदर जो रिवोल्ट होता है, इट इज कंसिडर्ड द सिपोई मुटिनी. We will discuss in this chapter, on that chapter. Now students, in the technology of the warfare, it will change you can say from the 1820s. 1820s से जो आप कह सकते हो warfare technology थी, उसके अंदर काफी changes आया. तो इस तरीके से जब उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी में चेंजेस आया, सो जो कैवलरी रिक्वायरमेंट थी ना, इट वाज डिक्लाइन. धीरे धीरे वो डिक्लाइन होना शुरू हो गई. जो हॉर्स बैक वाली जो आप कह सकते हो ट्रेंड पर्सन थे ना, उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट कम होने लगी. द बेसिक रीजन इज दिस. रीजन इज दैट बिकॉज दे हैव अ गुड वॉरफेयर टेक्नोलॉजी. ठीक है. नाउ स्टूडेंट, नाउ ब्रिटिश एम्पायर इट वाज फाइटिंग विद बर्मा, अफगानिस्तान एंड इजिप्ट सोल्जर्स. अगर मैं उनकी बात करता हूं, they were the soldiers having the arms of musket and matchlocks, and they were the well trained persons. So due to technology, the cavalry requirement it was declined. So the company soldiers, they have to keep pace with the changing military requirement. उनको changing military requirement के अकॉर्डिंग काम करना पड़ा. पहले जस्ट ओनली तलवार से, तीर अंदाजी से काम किया जाता था, अब बंदूक चलानी पड़ती है. मस्केट्स एंड मैचलॉक्स, अब उनके हाथ में वेपन्स होते हैं, उनके हाथ में बंदूक होती हैं. ठीक है. नाउ दे हैव टू फाइट विद ईच अदर विद दोस मस्केट्स. सो द कंपनी सोल्जर्स, दे हैड टू कीप पेस विद द चेंजिंग ऑफ द मिलिट्री रिक्वायरमेंट. अगर वो नहीं करेंगे तो दे विल बी डिफीटेड. They would be defeated. So they have to change according to the change situation. They have to change according to the warfare technology. So that's why the cavalry requirement it was for the company army, it was declined. इस वजह से उनकी जो आप कह सकते हो उनकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट थी वो डिक्लाइन हो गई थी. नेक्स्ट थिंग, another change in the company army, it was just only the uniform military culture. Now if we think about the military culture, uniform military culture, then all have to wear uniforms. If all have to wear uniforms, they look like same, right? And soldiers, they were, you can say, participated in the European style of training, of drill and discipline also. And if they were doing all those things, so they have to avoid the caste system to be a professional soldier. उन्हें caste system को ignore करना पड़ेगा. But India is a religious society. We have a caste-based society, and sentiment had also a key position in the heart of every person living in this society. हर एक व्यक्ति के दिल में जो sentiments होते हैं, they played an important role, because we are living in a religious-based society, caste-based society, and under this company rule, if you think about it, there was a uniformity. We have to ignore all these caste-based things to be our professional soldiers, and it hurts maximum people. इसने हमारे इंडिया के maximum people को hurt कर दिया. Right, students? Now, student, let's conclude this chapter. For concluding this chapter, we have come to know about that East India Company. It came as a trading company in India, but after so many years, it became the territorial company. It became the territorial company, and territorial company के बाद there was a lot of, you can say, technology development, and due to the arrival of the new steam technology, it played an important role to for becoming a trading company into a territorial company. इसने एक महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई. एग्जांपल में ले लीजिए, अगर पहले आपको पूरे इंडिया की जर्नी करनी है तो you would take 6 to 8 months. But if you think about new steam ships, it reduced this time period into just only 3 weeks. कहां पर आप 6 से 8 महीने यूज कर रहे हैं. Now you just only took 3 weeks to roam in India, to visit all part of India. So that's why, due to this technology and due to the strength of the army, by 1857 the company established a vast empire in India. India का near about 63% जो था, it was under the British Empire, in which 78% population of Indian subcontinent it was living. तो इतने एरिया के अंदर ब्रिटिश एम्पायर ने 1857 तक आप कह सकते हो अधिकार कर लिया था, और इस अधिकार के अंदर उसकी डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज थी. He adopted the war method also, and he adopted the technology also, and the army strength also. So in this way, by 1857, it created a vast empire. Right, students? So I hope, students, everything is clear to all of you. So I'll see you in the next video for the new lecture and for the new chapter. Right, students? So thank you. Have a nice day.